Welcome to Living Life in the End for the Successful and Fulfilled Woman. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, the Liberated Lawyer. I help women to get everything they desire in life by equipping them with powerful strategies to achieve the fulfillment they desire and deserve. Who said you can't have it all? Clearly, they did not know about living life in the end. When women make powerful decisions and create great strategies, they can have everything they desire in life. Girlfriend, forget about choosing between being successful or fulfilled. You can be successful and fulfilled. It's time. It's time for you to get everything you desire and deserve. It's time for you to live your life on purpose. It's time for you to live a life that is fulfilled, meaningful, and full of joy. It's time for you to walk boldly in the power of your decisions. If you are going to be in this world, you need to be fulfilled in this life. Life is too long to be unfulfilled. Join me for another episode of Living Life in the End, where you learn how to live fulfilled, fit, and free. Hey, it's time for a musing from the mind of Dr. SDB, where I share poignant thoughts to help you live your life in the end. Girl, I've got something on my mind. You know, training for my first bodybuilding competition smashed every truth I had about aging. You know, when I was growing up, the women in my life got to a certain age and stopped being physically fit. I'll say it like that. None of my immediate family members were especially athletic. My Aunt Demetria was an athlete, but interestingly, they didn't have a lot of girls' sports, so she couldn't even play basketball for her school. She had to play it at the local gym, but lest I digress. But the women in my life, my mom, my mom's friends, and other women, I never really saw them remaining physically fit. There were some who would go walking and maybe do a little aerobics. And I remember that there was a women's gym when I was a little girl. But for the most part, never really experienced women over 50, especially, being physically fit. It just seems like they got to that age and that was that. One of the major motivators for me to remain physically fit was watching my granny physically decline over the years. The more she aged, the more weight she gained, the less mobile she became. And I distinctly remember when she and her friend, I think Miss Ernestine, Miss Strong, stopped walking. I think my granny by that time was beginning to experience hip pain. And I can't remember if it was the hip pain that stopped them from walking, but they stopped walking. They used to walk regularly and they stopped walking. And it seems like when she withdrew from that activity, her health began to decline. And thinking back on that, that's always been a motivator for me to remain physically fit. Now, of course, I've always desired to be fine, you know. I want to be a certain size or wanted to be a certain dress size, and for many years was super consumed with keeping my weight a certain range. And 120 pounds, for whatever reason, was the golden standard for all of my weight loss goals. And In college, I was never really over 125. I remember I got a little fluffy the year between my freshman year and my sophomore year because I ate donuts all summer when I was an orientation leader. And the size 6 uniform that I had was cutting me in half by the end of the summer. And then I had to lose weight rapidly to be the size that I needed to be on the majorette squad because I made the majorette squad the spring of my freshman year. And we had a very strict weight limit, and I had to lose probably about 12, maybe 15 pounds before the school season, the marching band season started, so that I could meet my weight limit and fit my majorette uniform. And I stayed in decent shape throughout college and throughout law school. I got real fine the last year of law school. I started running regularly. That was the first year I really started running regularly. And I got back down, I think, to 115. And when I started work and when I was studying for the bar, I was super fine when I was studying for the bar because I ran 6 miles 5 days a week. And that was kind of my therapy and my physical exercise. But I started work and I had billable hours and didn't really have enough time to work out. There was a gym in my building, but it was really challenging to carry all of my stuff to work, to get dressed and showered and get downstairs to work. You know, it was basically like going on an out of town trip every night. You had to do your hair, you had to do all these things. And I eventually became less and less regular. And then I had children and my weight went up and down. So I fluctuated between 130 and 150 for most of the time that my children were in grade school. And I think I finally got below 130 again when when I was going through my divorce and started running again as therapy. And I haven't really stopped running since then, or remained physically active and kept my weight at, a rate that I felt comfortable with. And then I got sick, and gained all my weight back. And I think I got up to 155. And I remember my 47th birthday or 48th birthday. My 48th birthday, I went on a trip, and I remember looking at pictures of myself and realizing how fluffy I had become. I had gotten back up to 155. So I stopped working out largely because I didn't feel well and I was kind of dealing with my illness. And then in 2020, started running again and lost all that weight. But anyway, my point being is my weight fluctuated up and down, and I had reserves in my mind that I would never be 120 again, or I'd never have a flat stomach again, or I'd never do this. I had accepted that, well, I'm older now and my metabolism has shut down and I'm never going to do it. And in fact, I had embraced this approach of really not eating, thinking that if I ate food, I was going to gain weight. So I really wasn't eating a lot. I called it intermittent fasting, but really, y'all, I wasn't eating but like once a day. And I drink coffee for breakfast. I wasn't drinking breakfast. I was kind of doing all of these things that were counterintuitive to maintaining a healthy weight, let alone losing weight or achieving some type of physique. And but I had resigned myself that, this is just how it is. I'm older now. I can't lose weight. My metabolism has stopped. I'm never going to have a flat stomach, all these things, all the things. And that was a reason that it took me so long to even attempt to train for the bodybuilding competition, was because I had convinced myself that I'm older now. And so that means this is the body that I have. It's never going to be anything different. And something in me made me think, well, let's just try it. You won't know until you try it. And if nothing else, you will just learn how to eat healthier, and that will be something that you can use to just maintain the weight that you are at. Well, training for this bodybuilding competition just smashed every myth I thought I had, or every myth I had believed about aging. And not just the superficial aspect of how I look, or the size that I am, or the weight that I am, but really, it challenged me to think about aging differently. Before, I never thought I'd get rid of my little foopette. It really wasn't a fupa, but a foopette without surgery. I've had a little poochy pooch since high school. Even when I was small, I never really had what I thought was a flat stomach. And I sincerely thought that the only way I'm going to get this gorgeous body that was in my mind was to have surgery. And honestly, I had been thinking about, I'm going to save up and get me one of those mommy makeovers and get my boobs and my stomach, the tummy tuck and all of that. I still may get my boobs done, just because, unfortunately, with my weight loss, I have now become a standing member of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee, and I have entered my braless phase, but I don't have braless boobs. But anyway, lest I digress. There were major things that I learned just about aging and how women in particular approach getting older. And the first thing that I really embraced was the fact that you're never too old to do something that you wish you'd done when you were younger. As I began to get further and further along with my training and working with different coaches and peers who were on the same journey, I began to realize that there was a whole world of women over the age of 50 doing bodybuilding. In fact, one of the women that I trained with for the posing part of the competition was 79 years old. 72. No, 69. She was 69 years old. She was 69 years old. My posing coach was like 54. I'm 51. The other woman was 69 and started bodybuilding when she was 63. And when I heard that, I'm like, wow. I remember getting so excited during one of our practices when I realized here we are, a room full of women in our golden season and beyond who are physically fit and in the best shape of our lives. Shortly after my first competition, there was a woman here in Atlanta who trained for a bodybuilding competition for the first time ever at the age of 72. At the age of 72, that's when she started. And she actually won her competition. And there are several women that I follow on Instagram that are seasoned bodybuilders. And when I began to follow them, I realized that, we're never too old to do what we've always wanted to do. And bodybuilding, of course, is just one example of that. But I'm sure that there are a lot of women who are reaching 50 or have reached the age of 50 and kind of think, well, it's over. Or, oh, I should have done that when I was young. It's too late. I can't go back and do that. But here's the truth, ladies. We are never too old to do whatever it is that we want to do. Ernestine Shepherd, a bodybuilder, is 80 years old, still bodybuilding. And there are so many examples of women who started businesses, started dynasties, started doing great things over the age of 40. 40 is not the end of life. 50 definitely isn't the end of life, not even 70. I remember being in a coaching program, and there was a woman who was 70 years old and decided she wanted to start a career as a speaker at 70 years old, and she was doing awesome. So, the big message that I want you to hear is regardless of what age you are never too old to do what you want to do. Now, physically, there may be some limitations. There is a point where if you can't bear children, all right. But there are women that are having, they're celebrities. Yes, you hear about the most who are having babies after 50. Now, I'm not necessarily a proponent of that because I know, like, at this stage in my life, I don't even want any grandchildren right now. But anyway, lest I digress. I keep a snippet of an internet search about Ariana Huffington that talks about her beginning her Huffington Post and media empire at the age of 54. And I think I cut it out. I wasn't 50 yet. I was maybe 48, 49, and I wrote on there is still time. And I always look at that snippet to remind me that at the age of 51, I'll be 52 next year. It's not too late. It's not too late for me to start my media empire and continue to build my media empire because I will have one day. And I get encouraged when I read about women who are doing new things at quote old ages. So that's the first myth that bodybuilding really smashed for me. Because honestly, beforehand, I thought that sure, we can start businesses, we can do, different things. We can go back and get new degrees, start new careers. But I never really thought about the physical things that we're able to do. And that leads me to the second point is you can do what you never thought you could. I never thought I could stick to a meal plan and not drink alcohol. Y'all, I love food. I am a foodie. I don't eat a lot, but I love eating good food. I love brunching and going out for drinks. And I love a good glass of wine. And I hesitated or delayed really beginning my training because I didn't want to give up food and alcohol. I wanted to be able to eat what I want to eat and drink what I want to drink and drink when I want to drink. And I never thought that I could stick to a meal plan. And I never thought that I could develop discipline around my eating. And I never thought that I could talk about my weight, y'all, without having some type of anxiety. I used to weigh myself every day. And it wasn't that I was obsessing over the number, but I needed to know. And I wouldn't freak out or not eat if I saw a certain number, but it would let me know that I needed to make different changes if I wanted to maintain a certain range. But I never thought I would be comfortable with weight and not feel apprehensive about it. And I don't weigh myself every day anymore. I weigh myself once a week, and right now I really only weigh myself because my coach needs to know how I'm doing with respect to muscle gain and then losing. Because with bodybuilding, you bulk up for a period of time and then you cut so that you are able to be, and it's not really a weight, we don't have a weight goal, but it's a certain look that you need to achieve for the stage, and that requires you to lose significantly. And I never thought I would see below 120 ever, because I struggled to get to 120. I get to 121, I get to 120.6. And I think maybe a couple of times for a day, I'd be like at 119. But I never thought that I would see below 115. And I got down to 111. Now, 111 is not a weight I can maintain. That's the weight I was when I hit the stage. And I think the next day I was back up to 150, because you cut a lot of water weight. And that's not healthy. I have no desire to maintain a weight below 120. But it was something I never thought that I could do. And what I realized is I could never do it before, because I was looking at it from the wrong perspective, quite honestly. And I was doing things that sabotaged my weight goals, not eating. Because now I eat more food. I've eaten more food, I'd say, this year, because I started training in January of 2024. And I have eaten more food this year on a consistent basis than I have at any point in my life. I eat 5 meals a day, every day. And before, I would skip meals. I would I couldn't eat breakfast. I did not eat breakfast. I drank coffee for breakfast, and maybe sometimes I would have cake with breakfast, like during the holidays. But for the most part, I didn't eat breakfast. But now I eat breakfast. I eat a mid morning meal, then I eat lunch, then I eat a mid afternoon meal, and then I eat dinner. And that's something that I think, when we are of the mindset where I can never do XYZ, we need to really question why. Why do we think that? And why can't we? And most of the times, I believe what we will find is we think we can't, but we really can. And the reason that we can't is we have not yet committed to what it takes to accomplish that. And I am not necessarily promoting that, hey, every woman over 50 needs a body build. Hey, every woman over 50, you need to eat this way so you can be this size. It's not about that. It's not about what size you are, the size of your clothes, or anything. It's about committing to the mindset that you can do whatever it is that you desire to do. And sometimes that, well, all the time, that requires you changing your mindset about it. It requires you to change your actions. And sometimes it requires you to get a coach or get in a different environment. I don't believe I would have been successful at bodybuilding doing it on my own. Even though I could have looked up the exercises, I could have figured all of that. I needed my coach to help keep me motivated, to one, give me the meal plan. Because I'm telling you, the meal plan is what made the difference, the big difference. Now, obviously, he trains my body in certain different ways to build certain muscles, but none of that would have been helpful had he not given me a discipline around eating. So, wherever it is in your life that you're facing difficulty sticking to a schedule, whether it's eating or exercising or a skill you're trying to learn at work, money management, whew, Lord, that's a whole nother topic. But all of those things require discipline, sacrifice, and patience. I am one of the most impatient people ever. I want what I want. I want it like right now. And honestly, if I had been training alone, I think I would have quit halfway into it because, quote, I couldn't see the difference. I couldn't see my muscles. And I was as shocked as anybody else to see that I looked like what I looked like on the stage, because I couldn't see it. And I always say that it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. And working with a coach helps you to see the full picture, because they see what you don't and they encourage you. And so it's important to be around people who have that expertise, or be around people who have the mindset where you can encourage each other. It's hard to do something hard by yourself. And the thing that I will tell you about bodybuilding that I believe translates to other areas of your life, because I've been translating it to other areas of mine, is it is difficult, but it is not impossible. It is difficult, but it is not impossible. That is a mantra that I have begun to say to myself over and over again when I'm facing difficulties. Y'all, I tried to change the locks on my front door the other day. It took me 3 hours. I was unsuccessful. I had to take the lock that I was trying to take off and get another lock. And then it took me another hour to put that one on. Changing locks is not my ministry, but lest I digress. But as I was going through the process, because I had to get a lock back on my door, otherwise I was going to have to duct tape myself in the house, I guess. I kept saying to myself, this is difficult, but it is not impossible. This is difficult, but it is not impossible. And I think that embracing that mindset is really important to understand whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever change it is that you're trying to put in your life. Remember, it may be difficult, but it is not impossible. And if you can embrace that mindset, you can make whatever change you desire to make in your life. And the last thing I learned about training for my first bodybuilding competition is that you will inspire yourself and you will inspire others. You will inspire yourself and you will inspire others. The great thing about showing up for yourself is you become a walking billboard for inspiring other people, because you never know, there's someone who has been thinking about doing what you're doing and they didn't think it was possible, and then they see you do it and they're like, oh, it's possible. So if you need some external motivation for doing a new thing, trying a new thing, trying to make a change in your life, remember that there is someone who will learn from what you're doing and do their thing, their new thing, their good thing for themselves. And who doesn't want to be a walking inspiration? It has been truly rewarding to get feedback from other women who have seen my posts, or I've talked to, who are inspired. Some are inspired to try bodybuilding because they were like, I've been thinking about it, but I was afraid to do it. I didn't think I could do it. And quite honestly, y'all, if Stephanie D. Bonds can stick to a meal plan and successfully compete in a bodybuilding competition with her trifling self, because I'm some trifling sometimes, you can. But it's been very rewarding to hear that. And it was really super cool to hear one of my mom's friends say that she was inspired and she wanted to do that for herself. And she's 70 something or 60 something, close to 70. But the thing is, your life is always an inspiration to others. And when we show up for ourselves, we show up for others, and we show others how we can do new things, we can do great things, we can do more. So I am excited about training for my next competition. It has not been as hard this time, even though I still hate, and I mean this, I hate eggs and I'm sick of chicken. Y'all, I looked at my meal plan today and saw that I had to eat chicken breast and rice today, and I did. I started crying. I'm so sick of chicken. Anyway, lest I digress. Nonetheless, because I know what is possible when I stick to the meal plan, I eat what's on the stinking meal plan. I eat it because the reward of what I will do for myself, for my health, for my body is much greater than the moment when I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to eat this chicken. I want to have a cheese biscuit and some chocolate. Anyway, lest I digress. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for joining me on another musing from the mind of Dr. SDB, where I share poignant thoughts that help you live your life in the end. I hope you learned something. I hope you feel something. But girl, I hope you do something. Fulfillment won't happen because you desire it. Fulfillment will happen because you decide to go get it. Let's get it. This episode was brought to you by the Successful and Fulfilled Woman New You Transformation, a VIP day for the high-achieving woman who is ready to be successful and fulfilled. If you are a woman who feels burned out and uninspired, or you are a woman ready to start over after a divorce, death, or other disruption, or you are a mother whose children are ready to leave the nest or are already gone, and you are now ready to create a meaningful life for yourself, or you are a woman who's approaching your golden years and you want the next half to be the best half, or you are a woman who's ready to get more out of life and ready to stop marking time and start living life, then we need to have a revelation conversation. Go to www.everythingideserve.com to schedule your complimentary revelation conversation, where together we will talk about where you are now and where you want to be, and begin to develop a plan to get you where you desire to be. You will leave your revelation conversation understanding the first thing that you can start doing today to begin living a successful and fulfilled life. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Living Life in the End for the Successful and Fulfilled Woman. Please be sure to let me know what made you feel something, what you learned, and what moved you to action. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on a great conversation. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast and let me know how you are living life in the end. Life is too long to be unfulfilled. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Tell someone else to listen for themselves. We should all be fulfilled. Remember, your life is the product of your choices. Choose to commit to bringing the desires of your heart to completion. You don't get what you deserve until you get what you decide. Life is too long to be unfulfilled.